Hello, everyone. Andy Hedrick here. I'm the president of Curantis Health, and I'm very excited to be joined today by my good friend, Steve Lee, who is the founder and CEO at Curantis Health. I've known Steve for over 40 years, going back to our days in elementary school. Can you believe it's been that long? That makes us kind of old, doesn't it?
It probably explains my hair loss, but I do remember the good old days. It was quite fun. You were always my go-to guy and still am. So I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. I was really looking forward to having you on with me. To begin this podcast, I'm going to announce I'm going to be recording a series of podcasts titled Heroes in Medicine, and I'm going to have special guests on. So if you're interested, you can connect with me on LinkedIn or by our website to learn more. So to kick off our discussion, Steve, what made you decide to start Curantis Health back in 2013?
It's a good question. I've been in medical device sales for a long time, since early 90s, 1994. 2013 was a year, and I launched this company with one of my good friends. His name is Brett Langford. He's here in the Denver area. And we met at a medical device company called KCI back in 2002. Friends ever since, and we decided to launch our own thing back then. And he's no longer with the company. He's went off and done some other things. But it was Brett and I decided to launch this because when we originally started, we were seeing there was a lack of focus for veterans and widows in the area. There was a lot of private pay companies out there, but nobody was doing anything dedicated to veterans. And that was our cue to go. We launched in 2013, 2014 when we started making calls and sales, and just been going and blowing ever since. So here we go.
Yeah. And what would you say are some of the biggest challenges facing 40 to 60-year-olds in terms of caring for their parents who are aging during their later years?
Right. Well, I think the most challenging thing is going to come down to really cost. I think things are so expensive, and I can say that from in a different area, being in Denver, near Denver and Boulder. I actually live right between both of them in a town called Broomfield. Doesn't hurt the cost of living and everything else. Everything's still so expensive here. And that's one of the big issues. What we're seeing challenging is, people like us in our late 40s and early 50s, we never want to leave mom and dad behind. We're seeing that the challenge is people actually retrofitting a small part of their homes to bring mom or dad in for their later years. And it's affordable, it's cost effective. There's one-on-one entertainment constantly, with your parents. And hopefully we're seeing trends like that now in this area, that it's just too expensive to let mom or dad go. And that's a challenge because not everybody has a lot of room to bring mom or dad or the resources to provide that care at home. So that's where we kind of step in and make that transition a lot easier, per se.
Right. And so you guys are providing care for both veterans, surviving spouses, and private pay clients as well in these years.
Right. Yeah. What we did,
go ahead.
Andy, what we did is we cut two different divisions. We took Curantis Health and split it in two separate, because there's two completely different methods of taking care of folks. One is with memory focus and really just the care that we can provide for those that have memory loss, but it's more of a private pay situation. On the veteran and widow side, how many widows do we know at home that are at home with their husbands passed? There were Korean veterans or World War II veterans, and we have these single women, in their 80s and their 90s now, all alone. And they're dependent on their own children, their kids, which they're in their 60s and 70s now, to take care of them. And that's where you run into an issue. And that's where we wanted to separate both of our companies, if you will. But it's all under one roof, Curantis Health. So we take care of private pay. We also take care of the indigent veterans and widows. So that's kind of what we're doing.
Excellent. I appreciate your, service to the veteran community. They've been so good to our country, and I love it that we're able to give back in that way through a VA benefit. So, you most often they can qualify through the VA benefit, and it may be free for their at-home care. So that's a great benefit. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But according to Home Healthcare News, the demand for companionship services will continue to rise. Why is that?
I think it goes back to nobody wants to die alone. And unfortunately, we're in this business where a lot of families are done at this point. And it's a sad sight when you see a family kind of give up. You know, they're tired. They want to take care of their mom and dad, but they don't want it to change and interfere their own lives. And that's kind of where we're at. We're kind of that missing link to these families that want to carry on. They don't want to leave mom and dad behind, but so we feel like we're important. And there's not a better feeling than to leave a home, hugging family members and having a solution for them. You know, I mean, it's the ultimate.
Absolutely. And, you know, you and I both talked a little bit about veterans. You know, can you tell us about the potentially free home care for veterans and surviving spouses through your Veterans Aid program?
Yeah, basically what it is, we've created 8 eligibility questions that will predetermine if a vet or a surviving spouse can get this coverage. And when I say coverage, it's really funds. It's not coverage, it's funds. It's actually tapping into a benefit that the veteran, whether he be male or female, has fought in our services, and they have to meet 8 questions of criteria. Very simple. The first one's a given. Are you over the age of 65? So I'm pretty sure that everybody can get an A on that one. But the other 7, they're just detailed, specific questions about you and your service. It's come in, do your 8 questions, get verified, allow Curantis Health to provide the care. And again, we're talking about free care up to about 20 hours a week. What family couldn't use that, especially if they're living at home with you, you know? So
absolutely. Yeah, that's a huge help. And, you know, we have a rapidly growing elderly population, and we can serve their needs more effectively through partnering. So as you know, I'm focused on helping partners in healthcare and retirement communities who join forces with us. So to learn more about that, please connect with me on LinkedIn or through our website, and we'll tell you more about that and how we could potentially partner to provide superior services and care for your patients. So what would you say are some of the biggest improvements that you've seen for clients over the years?
A prime example, if I've got time. I remember I was at a table with a family, and it was me, the daughter, and the elderly patient, sweet as pie. She was in her 90s, early 90s. And Andy, I was just doing general information when we go and do a house visit. You know, we introduce ourselves and how we can help. And I'm sitting at this table, and this lady literally stopped what I was doing and said, sweet as could be, put her hand on my hand and said, "Is this your first day?" And I said, "As a matter of fact, it is." And I just playing along, 30 seconds later, hand on mine. "Is this your first day?" Andy, this went on for probably 45 minutes. And my point to you is, if you hire someone to take care of, if that was your mother, there's no way you could pay someone $12, $13, $14 an hour to babysit, to manage that. Okay, that's what it is. You have to have the receiver, the employee, being willing to understand that disease. And that question is underlined with many things. I'm scared. I don't know who you are. Why are you in my kitchen? Why are you talking to my daughter? Is this about me? This is what's going in the minds of the patient. And
Right.
If you don't hire the right people to address that, and how we do it, it's self-centered care, what we do. In other words, we meet with the family without the client beforehand, and we learn what high school they went to, what activities they were in, where they worked, their children's names. We go down the list because when you put your hand on mine and you ask me if this is my first day, my response is going to be, "Tell me about your days of being a fighting eagle. I heard that you were a cheerleader. I heard you played football." You see where I'm going?
Right.
And then what happens is their mechanism of being scared and I don't know what's going on. They think, "Oh, well, I do remember that. Yeah, I was an eagle. Yes, I remember." And they come to life. Well, that takes premise of the entire conversation. So you have to have patient employees and understand that every client, it's a person. They're not a number. They're a person with this disease that need love. And you have to come back with love. And you do it in triggering these questions that we know that they know the answer of, you see. We didn't have this 5-10 years ago, Andy. Nothing was there. It's just, oh, well, he's going to ask you a lot of questions. And no, it's not. It's not true. It's a disease. We know how to do it. We know how to respond to it now in a more appropriate way. So
Right.
long
Your
answer.
caregivers are specially trained and
That's
how
right.
to respond and how to deal with dementia and Alzheimer's.
They are. Absolutely. Yeah. And
You
it makes
know,
all the difference in the world.
I also understand being involved in this business with you. There is a real challenge for retirement communities and nursing homes to provide the time and attention needed for their residents without some outside help. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, the old saying is true. It's overpopulated and understaffed. And my great grandmother is witness of that. You remember Ninny?
Yeah.
You remember Ninny? That was my great grandmother. I know the audience doesn't know, but my mother had to put her in a home because she was staying in a residence off 51st and Western in Oklahoma City. You know where that is, Andy.
Yep.
And my mother used to go visit her a couple of times a week, and we knew that something was up because she would prop herself up against the wall, like prop, and that's where she would stay. And we didn't see her walking around, and we're talking late 80s now, so we didn't really know what was going on. The house always smelt of, not good, urine, things of this nature. Come to find out, my dear Ninny was crawling from room to room trying to get help. And I didn't know it. And of course, I was 17 at the time. And it's just those types of things that you realize how much of an impact you could have, even in your own stuff that has happened to me personally. And I knew I was going to get into this business and take care. I don't want any more ninnies. I don't want that to happen to them. And come to find out, Ninny was married, her second marriage, to a World War II veteran. And come to find out, that care could have been started, because the benefit that you and I are talking about, that you're asking me about, is called the aid in attendance. You'd ask a number of veterans, hey, do you know what the aid in attendance is? I have no clue, no idea what it is. It's there and it's available. And it's been there since Marilyn Monroe was walking around in heels. So we're talking the 50s. It was part of the group package that if you come in and you meet, again, the big 8 questions that we have, you could get eligible for this. And we're going to pay you funds. And then you take those funds and you pay someone like us to take care of you. It doesn't even affect their personal income. We don't hit their retirement. No, we don't do anything. And we never collect money up front. So really, it all starts with the 8 question. The aid and attendance benefit's been around for years and years. We know how to tap into it.
We're able to step in and help these retirement communities and these nursing homes where they need, to provide a higher level of care. We're happy to help. We're happy to step in and be an extension of your services, and also for healthcare providers, be an extension for you to make sure the medication reminders happen, the home therapies are happening, the medical visits are happening through transportation, and then all the light household duties as well. We're happy to help be an extension to these companies. So I really appreciate you coming on with me today, Steve. It's always fun talking with you.
Awesome. I appreciate it, Annie. It's been great.
So that's going to do it for this segment. Please be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell below to be notified of future podcasts. Take care, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Adios.